My name is Pam Friday. I paint using mixed media, acrylics, and I use a hard edge, bright colors. I always did art. My parents always bought me art kits and oil paints and pastels. I thought I was going to become a sculptor. I did wood sculpture. I did metal sculpture. So when I got to the University of Massachusetts, I met a professor, Nelson Stevens, and he was a Black professor, and he encouraged me to do art based on African art, Egyptian influence, and we used bright colors. We studied all these different types of art techniques. And he ran a mural program. He encouraged us to create designs to put a mural on different buildings throughout Springfield. I created a design based on Egyptian art. We took the design that I had in my sketchbook and we blew it up to the wall. By the time I finished the painting, it was about 7 feet tall and over 20 feet long. And I stood and I looked at it and I thought, oh wow, I guess I'm a painter now. So I painted a lot throughout college. I painted after college. I always wanted to do my art and I never had time. So I decided I was going to save enough money to take a year off and just do art. That was my dream. I exhibited probably during that year, maybe 15, 20 different exhibits in New York City. That's where I live. I went to art classes. I went to the Art Students League in New York on 57th Street. I did some art retreats and I just had a wonderful year. But after that year, I decided, okay, that was fun, but I need some money. So I went back to work. Now I have some art that I have done based on some journal entries. And I did some pictures based on these journals. I was a young mother. My son was going to daycare. As young mothers always have to struggle. Am I making enough money from this job and paying daycare? Is it worth it? So I took my son to daycare and he was crying and he had his hands pressed up against the window. And I was like, I think I'm going to stay home with him for a few years. And that's the basis of that picture. And then the other part of my journal series, there's one called Sedona. I went to Sedona, Arizona on a retreat. It might have been a yoga retreat. I had kept a journal about that day and red dirt and the stones. It really inspired me. The hands on the painting, I stylized them. They have geometric shapes as far as the fingers. And I really like the fact that I kept the edge of the sketchbook. That's mixed media. And that's Sedona. I have done some styles which are, really geometric shapes, bright colors. This one is about growth. And I also many times like the idea of day and night and nature and water. And many of my pictures, I have a golden line going through them. And that golden line represents to me like the hand of God or a higher power that's guiding me through my painting. This was about strength and growth as an artist. Every time I tried to go grow plants, they would just die. And then all of a sudden my plants were living. So I was like, oh, I can grow plants now. The growth, and this is representing the spine and the strength. The ladder is going higher and higher into the heavens pretty much. Also here you see the gold line again. New York City in the background. This particular painting I call like Kata's Tomatoes. So my mom had a friend named Katie and she gave her some tomatoes to ripen on the windowsill. But at the same time, while the tomatoes were ripening, she passed away. Katie, not my mom. I incorporated that into the painting with the tomatoes. Then I've done a lot of paintings with curtains. This is, you can see the curtain on the window. And there's another painting there where I used lace as a shade coming down, almost like nightfall. My mom has come down with dementia a few years back, and she's still with us. She's in a nursing home. I said, my mom's memory is almost like fireflies in a jar when you collect them, but there's still light in there. So I had envisioned a picture of my mom inside of a jar with the fireflies. There's a little grass in there. You usually put grass in the jar with the fireflies. And there's the holes on the top. When she first had dementia and she was in the nursing home, she kept asking to go home. She would ask for her purse, her keys, and she wanted to go home. So you can see there's a little purse in there, a key, and a door. The roots of the tree, I made it like synapses of the brain. So, okay, this is a piece I've been working on. I like to do a lot of Florida-themed art. I was inspired by a picture I saw, a photo I took of a bird outside of my window. But I didn't want to do a realistic type picture. You can see he's on a walkway and there's rocks, but my walkway is zigzaggy like this, geometric shapes. The rocks I added as mixed media right here. I was working on the grassy area. I do a lot of hard edge paintings. So I put the tape here and I put I painted inside of the tape line here, and now I'm taking the tape off and hoping that it came out okay. So I'm going to take this tape off, and I wanted to do a line up on top that was a good contrasting color. Then, because I like mixed media, a lot of times I will draw a sketch of something. I did a sketch, and then I took my knife and I cut out the shape of the bird. I did not put his legs. I'm going to paint his legs on here. And I'm going to adhere this to the painting. So what I usually do is I'm using glazing liquid, and I'll squirt it here on my board. Take a brush, and it really doesn't matter that I'm putting this on here because it's going to dry clear. And I'm going to put the bird where I think I want him to be, of which, let's see, and we're going to glue him on there, and maybe he'll stay. Let's see. He's curling up. And some materials you'll find you have to do more to make them stick. So anyway, this is the bird, and I like the way it stands out. For some reason, I like the paper against the paint. It's just my thing. And I will paint his legs on and the bottom of his legs later. I will continue this painting. I'm thinking of adding a palm tree over here. Give you that nice Florida feel. And of course, I'll have to fix this edge. Or maybe not. One thing I'd like to say is we're really lucky in Melbourne and in Brevard County to be able to exhibit our art in so many different places in so many different ways. I'm from New York City, and it was always very hard to get into gallery exhibit. Often you were exhibiting maybe in a library or something, or you were part of a giant show. It came every once in a while. Once I came to Melbourne, I remember when I first set foot downtown, I went to the Strawbridge Gallery, and I was like, oh, I want to become a member. And they're like, okay. So I got wall space, and I also, you can exhibit even if you didn't have wall space. And it was wonderful to be able to be part of that. So now I am at the Galleria, which is in Suntree, Vieira area. I am able to exhibit my art, and people can constantly go to see it. They have the opportunity to purchase my art. It's so much easier than being in a big city. Sometimes you don't realize how lucky you are until you've experienced it in another way.